Hi, I'm going to show you how to make a modelled teddy bear using our knitting mould. Since these came out last year, they've been very popular for many different uses, but the knitted toys that I make with them are very popular. People are asking, how do you make them without spoiling the knitted pattern? So I'm going to use our sugar paste. This is the marshmallow. It's available in vanilla as well. Now, whatever colour you're doing your teddy bear, you don't have to colour the body inside the same. You can use any colour paste. You could use up a paste you've got left over from a cake or whatever. So I've just made the basic body shape, which is sort of a pear shape with a flat bottom, so he sits still. Okay, so I'll pop him onto a little board for now, and then I'll get some coloured paste. So here I've got a couple of shades of brown. I'll just knead that till it's pliable and smooth and ready to roll into the mould. Now I start to roll it out on the table first before I put it into the mould to make it easy. Okay, so here's the knitted piece mould. I'm just going to dust it lightly with some corn flour and tap out so there's not too much. Now I know this piece of paste, let's see, will nearly fit round the mould, so round the piece of paste. So I'm going to just roll that slightly bigger and then pop it onto the mould. And this rolling pin is actually slightly narrower, not too long for the mould. If it goes over these edges here, like a larger rolling pin would, then this paste would be too thick to wrap around the bear. What you've got to remember when you make these figures is they will look slightly bigger when they're covered with the paste. So I'm rolling in, putting a lot of pressure onto the paste to get it nice and thin. Okay, I'm going to just press with my fingers a little bit at the side to make sure there's enough. And then that is ready to come out. So just turn over and peel the mould away. And there you've got your embossed knitting pattern on the paste. Okay, so now a cutting wheel is useful for this. I'm just going to take away the edge there we don't need. I'll actually just cut a piece straight along the bottom. And now you start to measure your teddy for the size. So if I wrap that round, I can see straight away, let me turn it round so you can see, I can see straight away it's far too tall. So I can mark the top there with the Dresden tool so I know where to cut. As you handle the paste, it does stretch a little anyway. And again, I'll put this round now. Now, what I need to do first actually is cut the sides straight, one side straight, because then you put it on. So that would be straight up the middle. Take this piece round and you can see where you need to cut. It's not much, just needs straightening off at the edge there. Okay, so now I know this is going to fit round, but I want it to tuck underneath a little bit as well. I need to cut some little triangles out at the bottom here so it fits neatly. Take those away. Now turn it over and then brush with some glue. Spread your glue out really well. This is glue made with Tylo powder. It's 1 part Tylo powder to approximately 30 parts water. I usually just put a tiny little scoop of powder onto the end of a teaspoon handle, then fill the pot with water. It does take a while to dissolve, and I make it fresh every time I'm going to use it on a cake. So there, we've got the glue spread thinly. Now if you lay it gently in your hand, take the bear's body and put it on and wrap around. tuck those pieces under as quickly as you can and then sit him down on your board. Okay, now here you can see we've got some pieces at the top that need trimming off, but first of all at the back, where if it doesn't meet quite, take a Dresden tool and use your Dresden tool to push the pieces together. Okay, so you hide that join a little bit. It's very difficult for me at the moment seeing this upside down, so I'll just turn it so I make sure I get a pretty decent finish. I'm just pushing it, following the knitted pattern. I'll just open that out a bit more, then flatten it in. Always try and make sure your hands are cool as well when you do this, because obviously you know what it's like when you're using fondant or sugar paste. If your hands are hot, it goes softer and softer. So that's when, you know, if the paste warms up, the pattern from the knit is going to disappear, really, smooth out. So I've joined that together. I won't spend too long putting the pattern on, but if your Dresden tool just follows the way the stitches go, just turn it and then it's going to fit in okay. And don't forget, knitted toys do have seams on them anyway. Right, so now I'm going to trim the side pieces off here, and the teddy bear's arms will cover these joins, this seam if you like. I think he still could do with a little bit of finishing off, just in case the arms are going to bend to the front. I'm not too worried about following the pattern here because obviously it's bending in, the two pieces are bending in together, so there isn't really going to be a neat way of finishing off. It's just to disguise the join a little bit at the bottom there. Okay, so now he's ready for some legs, feet and legs. So don't forget, like I said before, you need the feet to be smaller, any part, whichever part you're making, slightly smaller than you want them, because they're going to be covered and they will look a little bit bigger. So I get 2 feet the same size. I've cut a piece of paste into 2 and then flatten for the shape of the foot. Okay, so they're about the same size there. And now we're going to use the knitted piece again to cover the paws. Now I've put the paws onto the brown paste and I'm just cutting large circles around them. Now what you need to do is, like before, cut out some triangles so you can fit the paste around the paws. And whenever you're fitting the paste, the knitted paste, around any piece, try it first without your glue to see how it goes. Okay, now that's going to fit against the bear, so I don't need to cover the back as well. Okay, I'm going to use a tube piping nozzle to cut out a circle here, and then we'll put a lighter paw colour in. Turn it over, put the paw onto here, and then a little bit of glue onto each piece there to fold up. And fold them up. I'm trying not to stretch, you know, pull them up, because I don't want that circle underneath to go any bigger. So if I just turn it over for now, then I'm going to put some glue into here. So I've got a small lighter coloured piece of paste to press into the mould. Just cut out and then pull it out with the Dresden tool or a cocktail stick. Then put that into the paw, making sure the lines of knit are all going in the same direction. And then press it down at the front first, like this, joining the 2 pieces together with the Dresden tool. And then I'm going to turn it over. I'm just laying it very gently on my hand and push these pieces together using your Dresden tool. And that's ready now to go onto the front of the bear. Pop that on. Again, make sure you've got it the right way round, that the knit is following the pattern. I'm going to show you now how to make the teddy's arms. This is what the finished arm looks like. So keep that there. Okay. Now, like I said earlier, you've got to remember when you make the body parts, they will all be slightly smaller than you want them to look. So you see there, if I shape that arm roughly, it's just, I think that'll be about right when it's covered with the knit. So I'll keep that, I'll flatten it at the end and just leave that there. And then I'll mould the knit again. And then we want a straight edge first of all. Turn it over. And I can see the length I need now, so trim that away. And I'm going to just cut a straight edge here that will wrap around the arm. So if I just roll that over, I can see now whereabouts I need to trim here. Okay, now it doesn't matter if that doesn't quite meet, it doesn't matter. It's better than it sort of being too much. If it is too much, trim it off with your scissors. Just be careful all the time you're not stretching to make it fit around, because then you will lose your pattern. So glue again, edible glue, and spread it very thinly. Put the arm on there in the centre and take the two edges up like that, okay? And then this top here, you see the shape there, just needs trimming a little better. And now I want a lighter piece for the paw. So take off. And this nozzle, this is a slightly smaller nozzle than the one I used for the paws on his legs. So I'll stick that on to the end there. And again, make sure your pattern is from top to bottom. So when that's on, now take your Dresden tool again and press in like this, so you don't lose any of the knitted pattern on the paste. Okay, and that's ready to attach to the bear now. You can just bend it slightly. And now looking at the bear, when you put the arms on, it rests quite nicely on his paw there, so that'll help support the bear. So I think with the glue, less is more, as they say. If you put too much on, it makes things slippy. Now, when you put things on like this and you think, oh, the feeling is you want to press it in, don't press it in with your hands. Try and use the Dresden tool to help secure it. And right at the top edge there, you can really push that against the body. Okay, and then I'll just attach the other arm. There we are. Right, I'm going to show you the head now, how to make the head. What I do with most figures, if you're worried about them being, people don't normally eat a whole sugar paste figure. People put spaghetti in them for support or whatever. I make flour paste sticks like this and just push them into the body, so there is something edible in there for the head to sit on. So this ball of paste I've just taken is, I think, about the right size. You don't have to worry about it being smooth, as long as it's the right size and shape, because it's going to be covered. You won't see the creases in the paste. Now if I turn that over, put the head on, I know I've got enough there to fit around the head. So we just need to start with a straight edge each side. It doesn't really matter about the top and bottom edges because they are going to be trimmed off. So we just put the glue across all over. Put the paste into your hand and put the bear's head in like this. Fold the paste over So you have got a seam in the middle. Now this time, instead of cutting out little triangles, you're just going to press the paste together like that around the head and then trim off with some scissors like that, and then the other end as well, the bottom of the face. Before you trim, you do make sure that those sides are pinched together well, so when you cut there aren't any gaps. And then that's to go on here. Now I didn't put any glue onto this, so I know it's easier now to push the stick in here while it's in your hand rather than straight down onto the figure. So we put that on. And now with the glue, what you want to do is just put glue here where the head will join the body and pop that on. Okay. Now I'm going to put his snout or his nose on. So I want the snout to be quite small and flat because I'm going to cover it with the knit. You could just do it in a plain piece of paste, a slightly paler colour, plain, but I'm going to cover that with a piece of knitting. Then I think I'll just glue that now. Put the snout into there. And then cut as before, cut some triangles out around the side. So some glue onto these little pieces here, and then just push around the snout. Take those triangles away. So the nose, for the snout to go on here and stay, it's quite a vertical drop, you know, with the weight of the snout. So I'm going to put another support there, a little flower paste stick into here, and then just put some glue around the back of the snout. Pop that on, again remembering to keep the knitted pattern in line, and if you want to make it feel a little more secure, use your Dresden tool to press to help it stay in place. I'm going to mark his mouth now with this tool. This is a gem veining tool, tool number 12, and his mouth can just go here. I'll just put my hand at the back so I can press that in. And then you can put a line from there as well if you want to, just try and make it a bit more. There you go. And then his nose, a little bit of glue just at the top there to put his nose on. I'm going to make, before I put his nose on, I'm going to make the holes in his head for his eyes to go into. So if I put one here, when you do bear's eyes, always keep them close to the snout. If you put them too high up, they just don't look right at all. I'll just turn that to make sure I've done them correct, because I couldn't quite see. Okay. So I'm going to roll balls of paste for his eyes. And I'm going to put those in now before I put his nose on, because knowing me, I'll end up knocking his nose off. So we'll just put a tiny touch of glue into each eye. And then pop the eye in, if it'll come off my finger. And then the second eye. There we go. I'm just going to use the end of my rolling pin to just press them in there. And then his nose can go on. You can do an oval nose, a triangle, whatever shape you like your bear's noses. Even a little heart can look nice. Pop his nose on. And now just some ears. So quite a small piece of paste. And you can press it in or roll it in. I'm going to roll it in. Take that out. Now you can either cut them out freehand or use your piping nozzle. If you think that looks about the right size for his ears, you could use this. So I just want to cut out 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then glue 2 together. Now make sure again that your pattern is straight. You put the 2 pieces together, the pattern the same on both sides. Then I'm just going to trim off a little piece straight at the bottom. And the edge, the top edge here, just push together with your Dresden tool to help hide the join, and then pop one ear on and attach your second ear. I'm just going to finish off the teddy with a little tiny dot of white painted into each eye, and I'm going to give him a little bow on his neck as well. You see the difference that little dot of white makes. So this is our bow mould. So just put some corn flour into this bow here, and I roll a sausage of paste. That's a little bit small actually. Let's put this in a bit bigger. Sausage of paste across the top of the bow. Press it down and into the tails. Just there. Press firmly. If there's too much, just push it to the edge and take it off with your thumb. Turn the mould over, release the bow, and then we'll just put a little bit of glue under the bear's neck and attach. Again, press it on with your Dresden tool to secure rather than with your finger. And there's our little bear.